What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again. And before I show you the testing footage on this particular Wee knife, I just want to give you a heads up that some of the footage is kind of windy and you can't really hear me. Some of it's fine. It was kind of sporadic as I recorded, so I just wanted to give you that heads up so you didn't have that wind noise screaming in your earbuds. This is obviously after the fact. I will meet you back here at the reviewing table for some final thoughts and what I really think about this Wee knife after
a little bit more testing. This time on the Wee Knife 709A, also known as the Thraex or Thraex or Thraex. I honestly do not know exactly how to pronounce the name of this knife, but nonetheless, it's a good looking knife and it deserves some testing. So let's put it through a couple of things. So this is the remnants of the box I just cut down to little shreds with the 709. You can see the residue on there, but apparently I needed to press the little red button for you guys to be able to see that. I had no idea. So let's do that one more time. Let's do a few cuts here. I had a couple of hang-ups, I'll be honest. I don't know if this cardboard's slightly wet, but there's not really any hang-ups here. I mean, I don't think this 709 or Thraex, however you want to say it, is supposed to be super slicey. Guys, I apologize for the wind. It's annoying in your ears. If it's any consolation, see, I got a little hung up there. It's much more annoying for me because this mess is just getting blown all around the yard. See, I mean, this is that straight portion is really slicing through this. A little bit better than I thought it would, honestly. Holy crap. So those hang-ups must have been my fault because that was killing. Let's move on to something else. I don't think cardboard's really posing a problem for the 709 or the Thraex. Man, I really wish I knew how to pronounce its name. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, since I have decided to record a testing video out in the middle of a tornado, we're just gonna have to keep going. Now, I am gonna do a little bit of stab testing with this knife, but it is a liner lock, and I am a little wary of liner lock, so I'm gonna be wearing this glove. Not that I don't believe in Wee knives construction or anything like that. I've had liner locks in the past disengage on me inadvertently. I don't want that to happen. So let's see how this does. Be stabbing right here, I think. Just a couple of hammer stabs. Make sure to get a good grip. Because I know that Tonto blade with its compound grind is definitely strong enough to do this kind of work. I really worry about liner locks though, and that's not because I'm so hardcore that I need something more than that in my day-to-day life, but when it comes to testing and needlessly stabbing a log, I get worried sometimes. And wow, that's pretty impressive. Let's do that one more time. Check that out. Lift up the whole log and see if there's any blade play. I don't feel anything. That's pretty impressive. Let's do perhaps a little bit of whittling. Okay, if this stick looks familiar, that is because it's from the last testing video. Let's continue on it with this one here. So, that nice flat edge on this Tonto, I've noticed that it's really easy to control a flat edge, like a Warncliffe or this part of a Tonto. It's just, there's that ultimate control. There's nothing really slipping off. You got a big belly. And of course, there's disadvantages to every blade shape, but for whittling, I mean, this straight blade shape is just really controllable. I guess I can take my glove off now, huh? I'm not doing anything so hardcore. I tell you guys how it feels in hand. The jimping and the thumb wrap feel pretty decent. It does kind of lock you in though. If you guys really don't like a knife to tell you where to put your hand, I don't know if this is necessarily the one for you, but you can see we're getting off pretty good chips there. Let's see if I can use the little Tonto tip here to kind of carve my own tip into this. Yeah, that's not bad. Deployment and lockup are still good? I think so. Alright, let's do something else. I think it's time for a little bit of hacking, don't you? Gotta do this in a 3-finger grip and just get going on a little log here. That hopefully doesn't have too many spiders in it because there's webs everywhere.
Let's just do a couple of overhands. I'm actually gonna put some effort into this, and let's see how far we can get this. This is a fairly large pocket knife, but still, it's a liner lock. And definitely not meant for this kind of use, I think. Let's see how far we can get into this. A little bit of this action. Oh wow, that stuck in pretty well. Just got the Tonto part in there. I don't know if I want to baton this one or not. I guess only time will tell as this test goes on, but that's sinking pretty good. I mean, this doesn't have a ton of weight behind it. It's a lot of G10. And again, I'm doing these tests for a variety of reasons. One being, I really love using knives, even if it's not necessarily for their intended purpose, as I could cut envelopes, open and stuff with this all day long, but I don't know how entertaining that is. Another reason being, I wanted to test this out to actually see if it's a good beater. Now, a lot of people don't buy $100 beater knives, but let's say you carry a $200 or $300 EDC knife every day and you want something that's quality made, quality built, but you know, it's not going to break on you like some $15 knife. Maybe you're looking at this knife as that kind of thing. Something you can beat on, not worry about too much, but still looks cool. Still has that nice ball bearing action, that nice flipping action. Okay, let's check that action actually. Still firing pretty well. Let's check the blade centering here after most of the testing we've done so far. Not bad, not bad. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of rope cutting. Man, that's not focusing for you, is it? Let's try a little bit of this. It's not paracord, it's some sort of nylon braided rope. I actually don't even know where I got this from, but I'm not in a whole lot of need of it, so let's cut a little bit of it. Not a whole lot of resistance there. Again, I don't think this is supposed to be a kitchen blade or anything like that, but it's not so overly built that it just doesn't cut. You know, it's more of a wedge than a knife. As soon as we're doing fine, let's double up on it, shall we? Do something. Whoa, what am I doing? It's hard to do this through the camera, believe it or not, sometimes. Okay, there it is. Yeah, not bad. I mean, triple up on it if we really want to. Actually, I don't even know. Let's do that again. I don't know how much this is, but this is like 4, maybe 5. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so far this thing's doing pretty well. I don't think it's quite as slicey as I would like, but it's definitely tough. I was kind of worried on the stab testing that this lockup would end up failing, but it didn't. I mean, rope cutting was all right. Cardboard cutting actually surprised me. This portion, if you just take off the tip, that is a monster cardboard slicer. And then the tip is just nice and strong. So I don't think the lockup or anything has been affected. So we're gonna have to do a little batoning just to make you guys cringe. So let me grab that right now. All right, here we go. I'll set it myself. Do it like that. All right. Okay, let me yank this out. As you can tell, I'm going light. I'm not trying to bang on this like it's some camp knife that can just take anything. Wow, that's really wedged in there. There we go. Okay, let's see if lockup or anything was affected. Wow, that's not bad at all. Let's do a little more because it seemed relatively unaffected. So, damn. It was like it exploded. Alright. Okay, let's yank this out here. So, I did not realize that this was Excalibur I was pulling out, and I'm not worthy. That's why it's literally impossible. This thing is so wedged in there. I hope it's unaffected, it's undamaged as I get it out. which might not be happening in this decade. Okay, there we go. Let's take it back outside here just for a minute. Blade centering still looks pretty good. Action feels fine. We might have the slightest, and I mean slightest, up and down blade, but this thing still feels solid. In fact, I'll show you how solid. Take it here. Whoa, whoa. Almost lost you guys. Okay. Worked out pretty well. So let's bring it back inside for some final thoughts, shall we? Okay, I'm back and let's talk final thoughts after testing. Now, I'll give you guys a little look around here, but I think the handle and the hardware for that matter, the clip included, was completely unscathed. It doesn't really show any wear or any really dirtiness even after that testing, so we can kind of skip over that. Let's talk about the action, which is just about as flawless as it was when I opened the box. Really unaffected. I mean, it flips great. I told you guys I didn't love the positioning of the flipper tab, and that remains true after a couple of days of carry and some pretty extensive testing that you guys just saw. But the lockup is slightly affected. Now, side to side, nothing whatsoever. But up and down, there is the slightest amount. I mean, the slightest amount of play. I want to be completely honest and as objective as I can be with these testing videos. It has a tiny bit of up and down play. I think that was a lot to ask of a liner lock to baton and whack like that, but I think it performed well. I'm definitely going to give it a pass because a lot of the liner locks I either have in my collection or I've owned in the past would not have fared so well. In fact, I have some with more severe blade play than that from much less use. Now, the blade does have some wear on it, and I think the finish held up really well. I think a lot of that is superficial. This is directly after testing, and that just looks like some tape residue, maybe some leftover sap from that old log. So blade coating, I think that was a win. Now, all in all, this knife feels pretty damn solid still, and I tried to show you guys that at the end of the testing video. One thing I noticed though, and this is the only real issue to me, is that there is the slightest, man, I keep using slight, there is a tiny bit of edge rolling right here. You guys see that? See how the light differs barely on the edge of the knife? And that's all that I really see. I mean, there's a little bit, it's there, but it's definitely not bad at all. The blade is still sharp, I can definitely attest to that. Their D2 has performed well for me in the past and did in this case. But D2 is a hard steel. It holds an edge very well, but I don't think it's very good at impact tasks. Wow, that was hard to say, sorry. Impact tasks like batoning, hacking at wood, and I think that's where a little bit of that came from. I don't think it's necessarily too brittle. I just don't think this knife was well suited for that task. So some of my favorite things, now that we've gone over a couple of criticisms, was the ergonomics. This G10 handle isn't fully contoured, but it feels like it. It's rounded enough that it's just super comfortable in hand. I have no ergonomic complaints with this whatsoever. The clip wasn't a hot spot. I was worried about this hump up top. The jimping locked me in great. Even with gloves, you guys saw it was easy to actuate and, you know, open and close this knife. It felt good in hand. There's plenty of handle to spare. Great ergonomics. And not that I'm going to have to do this again with this knife, but there's a great 3-finger action going on for this grip right here. Just how it's set up, so that's kind of interesting. And with my couple of days of carry, I really didn't do a whole lot of cutting, but the stuff that I did was a lot of score cuts like this, using this portion of the Tonto, which is extremely useful. You guys will know that those Tonto tips, that little corner there, is great for busting into boxes and clamshells and stuff. And this scoop here, as I suspected, worked very well for my index finger. So I'm impressed. I mean, this performed really well, and like I said, it outperformed almost all the liner locks I think I own in similar tasks. It's beefy and it's built better than I thought. I had some second thoughts on doing some stab testing with the liner lock, not because I thought I was going to break it. I mean, I really doubt I could bend that lock bar from the testing I'm going to do, but I've always had, you know, liner locks disengaged because there's nothing holding it into place other than the spring tension of the lock bar itself. And this one held up solid. So this thing is well built. It's a big, beefy EDC knife, but I think it's fairly lightweight for what it is. So, do I recommend it? Yeah, I do. I don't think it's a perfect knife. I think it has its limitations both in, wow, bad deployment on my part, and its blade shape, and it being a liner lock. But I think it's a good choice. I mean, it's filled with so much value. I mean, the action alone and the lockup, that is a great deal for $100. Then you add in all the other fit and finish features and just the overall aesthetic appeal. This is a cool ass knife. It just is. So yes, I do definitely recommend this for EDC. No, I don't think it's a good tactical knife. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't think it's built for that sort of thing. I would just avoid impact tasks with a G2 steel knife and comparable steels. You know, anything that's supposed to be really, really hard is generally not going to be very tough. So yeah, I do recommend it. In fact, a lot of their budget series seems to be pretty well built with the G10 handle scales and the liner locks, but I think this is probably the coolest looking one, just in my opinion. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, definitely leave me comments of what you thought about this and the testing video in general. I know I'm trying to improve on this. In fact, I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is my first edited video. So I just kind of mashed up some clips and hopefully it turned out okay. I know you guys will always give me constructive feedback. That's what I love, keeping this thing positive. I loved testing this thing out. So thank you, Zell. It was great to get another look at this thing. I like it. I do. So thanks for watching, guys, as always. And remember, have fun with your knives.